Hello everybody. And in this video, we're going to see if we can tame this wild, crazy moss carpet that has floated up on me time and time again. And we're going to do something to get this tank looking good. I had a vision when I did this tank, and as things evolve, my vision changes. And so we're going to try to get, I've showed you guys that it's possible to cover an entire 75 gallon with a mat of moss, but I think with the DIY spray bar thing I got going on here, and most of the flow comes out here at the end, I think the flow is just pushing it up and then making all the air bubbles get trapped up here. So we're going to remedy this, and we'll add a little bit of hardscape even, I think. So this will be fun. The first thing I want to do is reshape this moss. You can see it started off being coming in like this, and then this come in like that. And there's the gap was like this, and now the gap has grown together. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim up this moss, reshape it, and then create a border, because what has happened, it's floating up, but it's attached itself to the mermaid weed back there that's rooted in, so that anchors it down. So what we need to do is cut a lot of this front part off, add some rocks to anchor down the new front edge, and we'll do something similar here and get it all trimmed up when we get our border set. So that's the plan. Let's see if we can make it a reality. So the first step, I'm just going to take my big pair of scissors and I'm going to lop off the entire front part of this. We have detached. All right. That was fun. And so now, they still got to make sure we pick out all the shrimp that may be in here. All right, that's what we got there. So now, I'm going to try to scan. Yeah, we're not quite ready for that yet. We're going to try to trim this down. So we push it down without squishing shrimp. We're left with about that much. So, we're going to trim out some more. During this, you will see that I make big cuts with this big old pair of shears, big old pair of scissors, and then I'll be making finer, high definition cuts with some pruning scissors. Big chunk of this to start shaping the final edge. Cut another big strip out of this. We got it more manageable. And this over here has been a lot more difficult to get the whole thing cut. And we can make final adjustments when we add our rock work eventually. Alright, we got that shaped up a little better, I do believe. And look at this. Ooh, pulling it all out. Look at that. This will give me more open areas to help manage the shrimp population. The bad thing is the stuff that ends up underneath ain't quite as healthy. Now, it don't die, it browns out a little bit. But, and then the little bits, like all this will settle in the front, and if we just leave it, that'll green right back up and start growing into another pile of moss. Those little strings. So now we've got the front to back part taken care of, I feel like pretty good. So now we gotta get our angle here. We're gonna cut this diagonal somewhere in that area. Alright. Now we gotta pull this chunk out. Oh, yeah, that's a nice defined edge there for the moss bucket. Alright. And we just have to wait for all this stuff to settle, all this moss like this, because if we just leave this sitting here in the light, it will for sure sprout more moss. Because it's not dead, it's just browned out a little bit. As soon as it starts seeing light again, it will take. And what some of this is stuck in the substrate, and those are the original plugs. See, that was stuck in the substrate. That was the original, one of the original plugs of when I started this. That's what a lot of this stuff is in the substrate. So I'm gonna pull that up. It's gonna be kind of malmy because that's what it is when you pull up moss like this. That will not be a big deal. All right. Okay, I got some, there's just river rock. That's all it is. We'll play around, see if we can get the nice side facing out. But what we're doing here, we're setting a border here. Now the moss, of course, is going to go past it. There's nothing going to stop it from doing that. But this will give us a hard point so that we know it'll be easier to trim. So it'll eventually, it's going to come out and snake its way past the rocks. But that will be easy to keep trimmed because we want to make sure we get enough on it that's going to hold on to it, and eventually the moss will latch itself onto the rocks, and we will barely even be able to see the rocks unless we freshly trimmed it. So that will give the moss something to anchor down to. I'm trying to start shaping this a little bit. These are actually the river rocks I stole from my own landscaping. Alright. That's just a bunch of loose gunk we're going to have to clean out later, because when we're going to trim all this moss in that. I think I got enough rocks. I wasn't sure. Got a big old clump that we don't really want. So I admit it'll probably end up looking pretty amateurish at first, but then I think it'll definitely, once it grows in, I think it'll look pretty good. I might end up having to find some more rocks. Trying to keep the cooler rocks to put up front on the other side. This is just for the final back rock in the border here. Alright, so then we've got that part taken care of. Like I said, it's kind of looking now, but it'll look better. So then the next thing we're going to do on this side is do the lawn mowing treatment. And try not to make a giantly huge mess here. About even with the top of the rocks is what I'm going for, maybe a little bit below that. I gotta be careful not to cut the mermaid weed. I'm trying not to do that. Alright, so now I'm gonna pull off the moss and try not to make too big of a mess that I'm already doing. Alright, so we got some cleaning up to do, but I'm pretty happy with that. And now we're going to try to do something similar to this side. I think this will look pretty good when it's all said and done and grows in some more. Alright, start this side. We're going to do the same thing. Take out the big scissors. Start chopping. Wow. Getting quite a mess over here. Oh man. Alright. So here we are. Look at that big old hunk. Woo! That's a big old chunk. Right there is do our rocks. Hopefully we have enough rocks. Hopefully. Yeah, we got a mess right here. Got 3 rocks left. I do believe that'll do it. Well, look at that. That was perfect. I couldn't have done that again if I tried. And now the hardest part of the whole project is going to be getting that moss cleaned up around that Logowigia. And I'll probably spend a good amount of time trying to get that accomplished. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Now, again, I think it's going to look a lot better when the moss overgrows the rocks. And then when I trim the moss, I'll trim it so that the rocks are just barely visible. That'll be the trim line. So this moss will be attached to here, and I'll keep it from floating up on me. And look how good that little Wigia looks. Nice and reddish looking here in a decent light. So I'm going to finish cleaning up some of the moss clippings, clean the front glass, let it settle down for a few hours, then we'll see what it looks like. And this is what we ended up with. I think it turned out pretty good, and like I've said before, when that moss starts creeping over the edge of the rocks, they look more natural, look good. Shrimp are happy in here, shrimp are looking good in here. I am super excited about this tank, and I'm really happy with the way it looks now. Tank's been doing good, now it looks good. I like to show you guys. I mean, most of my tanks are just farming shrimp and moss, but try to make one looks nice so you guys know that you can make some pretty nice looking tanks. You can do some aquascaping with the natural planet style, natural style that I like to go with. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.